program.
I just need one.
Sure.
Give me the best one that an idiot could get on the phone right now and use, and it would increase their closing ratios.
Give me a moment to consider what all the...
You've got so many of them.
Yes.
No, just pick one. Hold that mic right up here by your mouth.
The first one is, I have a program designed specifically for people in your situation with these sorts of challenges that would like to achieve these sorts of goals. Would you like to hear a little bit about it?
Okay, perfect. Now, do you hear there's more clarity there? And you can hear that it connects, and how if someone needed coaching, I have a program specifically for people in your situation to help you achieve this goal. So that's a magic phrase.
In fact, I call it a magic phrase.
You do? You call it
I call them magic phrases. I have
my work is done.
Phrases.
Now, here's the next piece that I want to add to this. This is a very special technique, by the way, because that magic phrase doesn't work as well as it could all by itself. There are many components to it. Even though I don't know what it is, I just know that there are other components. That phrase will increase my coaching conversion, but there are other additional things that will make that phrase work 5 or 10 times better. That phrase might make my conversion 3 times better, but I got a bunch of other stuff that'll make that work 5 to 10 times better, right?
Absolutely.
You have those things.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, that's cool because when you give stuff away, you only want to give some of it away. So a phrase that I like to use is give away 50%, but give away the right 50%. Give away the thing to do, but don't tell exactly everything about how to do it. Leave a little bit of mystery there. So and one of the things I noticed in your sales letter is that I didn't leave with a lot of stuff that I could go use, if that makes sense. I didn't leave saying, I was made better for reading this sales letter. Right? I didn't go, oh, well, if this is the stuff he's giving away, how valuable must be the stuff that he's selling, right? And this is something you've got to test, obviously, right?
Yeah.
What I might try if I were you is this headline is instead of it saying, now you can actually get clients from all those free sessions you give away consistently and reliably, what about it saying a magic 10-word phrase I discovered that converts free coaching sessions into paid coaching sessions like magic? If I was, you know what I'm saying? If I was giving away free sessions, I'd read this and I'd say, okay, that's interesting, but I want to know what the 10-word phrase is. Because people that are having problems, that want solutions, we want instant gratification. When we're in fear, when we're in pain, we're pulled down into our lower selves. We'll talk more about that. We're acting emotionally. We want the technique. Damn it, give me the technique. I want to get to the technique. You may have heard the learning process. I don't even know where this came from, but we start out idealistic. We go into frustrated. Then we go into defiant. And then we resign or we become surrendered. And then we become aware. And then, we start the decision and commitment process. But when we're in that process, we want that instant gratification. I want that right now. So I might try a magic 10-word phrase I discovered that converts free coaching sessions into paid coaching sessions consistently. And then I might start out and say, hi, my name's Christian. You probably don't know me, but over the last 3 years, I've built a coaching practice from zero to $243,000 a year. I started out giving away a lot of free coaching sessions. In fact, most of my coaching sessions were free, and I couldn't just figure out how to convert it into a paid session. And people would say, let me think about it. I would give them the information to solve their problem, and they wouldn't see any value in continuing. And by the way, telling your story, if you can do this, if you can tell your story and give all of the screw-ups that they're making, but you're the one that made them, see, then they don't have to admit that they're stupid. They don't have to say, if you're saying to you, are you giving away lots of free coaching sessions? Are you screwing up? Right? There's a little bit of, now I have to admit that, right? Again, these are tweaks. You're doing a great job here. I'm just trying to fine-tune the carburetor on the Ferrari, basically, right? A little carburetor screw turn. Well, once you do that, then you tell your story. Then you might say, the magic 10-word phrase
that turned it all around.
And then you say, in a moment, I'm going to tell you the 10-word phrase that turned my entire business around and allowed me to skyrocket from zero to $243,742 a year. But before I do, I need to tell you another piece that will make it work for you. And now you can go into a sales letter because you promised you're going to give them the 10-word phrase. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So now you can squeeze in a bunch of the other stuff that you need to squeeze in. You can tell more of your story, you can give away other free valuable stuff, and you can kind of rope them in. Is this all coming together? Go ahead.
Yeah.
I can tell you want to say something.
Well, a couple things is one of the things I do is I actually share the 10-step process of the free sessions that sell process in the sales letter.
I read it.
Okay.
But I didn't walk away saying, oh, I know what that means and I can
Right.
use that.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I kind of felt like you still had the curtain up and it was
Wasn't
like,
showing
behind
enough.
the curtain I got all these 10 steps, but I didn't feel like you brought one of them out and I said, here, you can use this.
And normally, for some affiliates drive people directly to that page, so that a lot of these tweaks are definitely going to help me with that. Most of the people who, from my list, come to that page, come to a different page that gets them onto my list, which actually shares how to package one of these free sessions to make it super valuable so that people are like, oh my gosh, I want to have a free session with you, so that you can then sell me coaching. And it's this, the process is valuable to the potential client, and gets them to sign up. So there's this, it's called how to write a red hot free session offer. So that's another little piece of it that I'm giving away for free that helps people too. But I see that maybe there's some more I can do.
Well, I know you already get a lot of this stuff. Okay. What I'm saying is take some of that and put it into this.
Into the sale, yeah, absolutely.
Because you're trying to do a one-shot sale here.
Right.
And you can still fit in a lot of this relationship building stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can still get it in there, even though it's in one go. Now, another idea that I had is there's always something beyond what your prospect thought was possible. So there's what they're trying to achieve, what they want their outcome to be, but then there's always way, way more. All right, someone that's just trying to figure out how to make $1,000 a week so that they can pay their bills and take care of their family, they're just saying, how do I make $1,000 a week? They haven't even thought of how to make $2,000 a week. That would be so outside of their realm of they would just be like, I can't even go there. $4,000 a week, you've totally lost me. I'm not there. Like, that's not where I'm at. But if you could expose to them that there's not only, and again, this is just a brainstorm.
This is great.
All right. There's not only how to turn a free session into a paid session, but in there, before you give them the magic 10-word phrase, you might say, I discovered another thing that I'm going to share with you later after I get to know you better that does something that is far more important and far more magical than turning a free session into a coaching session. And what that technique is how to turn a paid coaching session into 90 days of paid coaching sessions. How to turn a $100 sale into a $1,300 sale. And would you believe that that's another magic 10-word phrase? Or it's a 3-step process.
Sure.
But it takes me 4 hours to take you through that one. Okay? So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to invest in and I don't know what the products are, but I'd like you to invest in my book because I want to teach you all of the other support structures for the 10-word phrase. I gave you the 10-word phrase. You can go use that right now and make money. But I want to teach you the support structures that make that work 5 to 10 times better so you get those conversions up. But you know what? You're still going to be spinning your wheels if you're just selling single sessions, which is the mindset of anyone that's selling their personal services, right? That's where their head is.
Well, actually, this is all about getting people to sign up, getting clients, having the coach get clients to sign up for 6 months of coaching or more. But one of the little hooks is that I also have in there is how to get them to get clients to pay you in full for 6 months or a year of coaching at a time. So,
and what I'm suggesting is instead of thinking of that as like another little bonus you're throwing in, take it and stair-step it so that you're just hammering on this idea of converting free clients, because that is like rocket science to the average personal services person.
Absolutely.
And then make that other thing a whole nother product, and then make another one on top of that, and keep making them bigger and deeper, if that makes sense. Because how much is a coaching client worth that pays you 6 months in advance? What kind of ticket is that?
Depends on.
Just give me a number.
$1,800 from.
1,800 bucks?
Coach.
How much are you selling the product for that teaches you how to do that?
$197.
Okay. I smell a disconnect.
It should be more.
More sounds good
should
to
it be
me.
more?
I don't know. I'd test more, definitely. In fact, that should be a coaching program.
How to test your prices?
No.
Oh. How to charge more?
How to get paid way in advance.
Yes.
How to get $1,800 a pop from every client sounds a lot more to me like a $150 a month program than it does like a $150 product. You know
when you were talking about split testing pricing, I've been wanting to do this. My concern is, what about people who paid the higher price but then later find out that they could have bought it for less, or can now buy it for less, or something like that?
Does anyone detect figuring out why making money won't work happening on the stage? No? Only one person? Okay. I'll make you a deal.
Okay.
Test your prices.
Yes.
And after you find the one that makes you more money,
yes,
if you haven't figured out how to deal with the people who come back and say, the 1% that come back to the website, I mean, when you go to Best Buy and the printer you just bought for $143 is now $127, do you go marching up to the customer service and go, guys, I paid $143 for this? Do you do that? No, we humans actually accept it as part of life that prices change. And of the 1% that go back and see the price change, like a fraction of that percent is going to call you up and be upset about it. And what do you do for anyone that's unhappy with your services?
Give them a refund or find a way to make them happy.
Fantastic. I think you're going to be just fine with testing prices.
Okay, great.
In fact, and I'm being a kind of pain in the butt here for everyone's entertainment and benefit, but I'll tell you in a little while how we cut the price of one of our main products in half and made so much money that we probably had to have the bank get a new truck to carry it all in, and how we managed the conversion of the price change and so forth. I'll tell you that story a little bit later.
Fantastic.
Good. So, did you get some value from that?
Absolutely.
Good.
Absolutely.
Give him a hand. Thank you. So as our company started growing, I made a couple of moves that involved people that were very impactful. In fact, the reality is that there would be no business to speak of if it weren't for all the spectacular people that work on my team. They've truly done the business. They've grown it, and they've made it what it is today. And there are two important lessons that I learned. One was the first team member that I hired, Sheila, who's still with us, and I think Denise was second. I hired them from elance.com, a website where you can hire people to work on projects. Who's used Elance and hired someone on Elance? That's fantastic. Great. And I learned the power of working with virtual team members, people that are off-site. I learned a counterintuitive lesson by working with virtual people. And the counterintuitive lesson was, it seems that having someone work right here in your office next to you would be the most effective way to work with them. Because you have that human broadband connection, you can communicate well with them, you can see what they're up to, they can tell you what's going on, you can show them how to do things. And that is a benefit, okay? And you do lose a lot when you don't have that. But there's a counterintuitive benefit that comes when someone is remote and you're not interacting with them in person, face-to-face on a regular basis. And that counterintuitive benefit is that the only thing you have to look at is their results. You're not seeing all their activity. You're not seeing all the things that they are acting like they're doing. You may have heard this term creative avoidance. One of the things that people that aren't good at producing results are good at doing is creative avoidance, making a lot of activity to look like they're getting something done. And when you hire someone virtually and you say, I'll tell you what, write me an update every day, or send me a weekly update with your results, and that's you only look at their results once a day or once a week, it's like Leonardo da Vinci said, you're going away from the work, but it's permanently that way. In this case, it's once in a while go inspect the work and see what's happening there. And you have to be careful with this, but if you hire stars, if you work with people that are truly results creators, you'll find that this can be a real big benefit, because if there aren't results, then you know you don't have the right person. If there are results, you do have the right person, and you can hire people that can manage and motivate themselves. Huge benefit to working with virtual team members, and I recommend you try it. We also hired some very interesting people to our team. We hired Chance, Drew, Farmer early on in the early days. Farmer, you've seen him up here walking around with me. He and Den and I are the ones staying up late all night before the program, and we'll be up late working on all the content and all the materials and the presentations. Farmer started with me early on, and he was a very kind of a multitasker, creative type person, naturally can do 47 kind of things at once. And I said, hey, Farmer, you ever used PowerPoint before? And he said, no. So I showed it to him, and within a few hours, he had all of the shortcuts down and totally had the program dialed and became a master of using the program, and then went on to learn one design program after another, and has now actually heads up and leads our entire content team with Colleen in our business. And what I found is if you find what I call a creative personality type, you'll hear me talk more about creatives and organizers in business later on. But if you find a real good creative who can integrate and synthesize a lot of things together, use different types of computer programs, understands design, understands communication, people like this can be very efficient. They can be very resourceful. They can get a lot done very, very quickly. And Farmer has been that for our team. And also we hired Drew, and Drew came on and did something that revolutionized our business. He went out and he started making deals, basically, with other websites, partnerships, finding distribution and marketing channels that I didn't even know existed, mass distribution and marketing channels, and helped implement those channels, and showed me the power of partnering with bigger companies and creating scalable marketing systems that you can turn up and down like a volume knob. Also, actually before him, he had referred me to another friend of his, someone that I had met before named Chance, who was our first quote-unquote business type on the team. And when Chance came to work with us, Chance took over a lot of the technical and business and day-to-day kind of management types of things. So he would manage sending things out to the email list instead of me doing it anymore. And he'd manage putting things into QuickBooks, so I didn't have to do that anymore. And he managed helping find a bookkeeper so that we could offload. And I finally had someone to work with me to help do that business stuff. Very critical, huge, freed up a lot of my time. And these three, Farmer, Drew, Chance, together, that little group of kind of the business person, the creative person, and the deal-making person, really helped us take our business to the next level. Because now a lot of that stuff that I could do, but maybe isn't my highest and best use, was getting done, and I could just go back to focusing on creating more products and figuring out how to convert the sales better. So that was huge. Virtual team members, and that deal maker type person, especially Drew, and the business type person and the creative type person. So I don't know where you're at in growing your business, but if you find yourself doing those types of things that I just mentioned, you might see if you can find a star that fits one of those almost archetypal personality types, someone to organize and handle the administration, someone to handle some of the creative and design work, someone to be the business type person, and someone to be out making the deals. If you can put some of those people in place, it's almost like having an 8-cylinder motor that's running on 4 cylinders, and you get another cylinder going, and you're like, wow, more power. Oh, and there's another cylinder going. Oh, wow, more power. And they all work together, and they start clicking. And what I've discovered since then is the bigger your business grows, and the more you learn about these personality types and the different subtypes within them and how they can work together, the more powerful your business can become. Because the more you learn about these distinctions and you learn all these different roles that people can have and how they can create leverage, the better you can do. And in this next section, which is all about finding and attracting stars to work with you, the best of the best, I hope to teach you some of the lessons that I've learned from some of our stars, like Sheila and Denise and Farmer and Drew and Craig and some of the others that I'll tell you about. This section I call From How to Who. Finding stars. From how to who. Here are a couple of quotes. Take our 20 best people away, and I will tell you that Microsoft would become an unimportant company. Bill Gates. Now listen to that again and think about it. Take our 20 best people away, and I will tell you that Microsoft would become an unimportant company. 20 people. How many employees does Microsoft have right now? Anyone know? 20,000? Is it about 20 grand? Take our top 20 people away of 20,000, and we become unimportant. Next quote. Never contract a friendship with a man that is not better than thyself. Confucius. Never contract friendship with a man that is not better than thyself. So you remember before when I mentioned emotional estimation and seeing only validation? Well, emotional estimation is rarely more damaging than when it comes to hiring people, bringing people on your team. And it's rarely more prevalent in business. Brad Smart, the author of Top Grading, who he's going to do a teleclass for the group as part of this Altitude program. He says that something like 75% of all hires are mishires. 75%. It's kind of universally across the board in business. So only 1 in 4 was a good one. What's the problem? Well, one of the big ones is emotional estimation, and it goes like this. I really like this person. That's it. I really like them. Liking a person can be one of the most dangerous things when it comes to hiring people. And I'm blown away by the experienced professionals that fall for this over and over and over. A few years ago, I was talking to someone who is a trained expert in human resources and in hiring, and they were interviewing someone, and I was talking to them about it, and I said, well, you interviewed this person, what do you think? And their answer was, I really like them. And I said, you mean like? Or you think they're going to do a good job? And they were saying, I just really like them. I said, danger, Will Robinson. Hello? If you like a person a lot when you interview them, you have to have a little red flag go up and say, okay, this is probably going to be a problem. My girlfriend, who's not here, unfortunately she couldn't be here, Rose, she has been starting a business over the last couple of years, and I've gotten to watch someone very close to me go through all of the steps and try to give advice and coach, but not, do things for her to allow her to figure this out on her own. And it would be great to have her share because I've been so close to it. But the bottom line is, I've watched as she's hired people that she really liked, and she'll say, oh, I finally found the person that's right for this role. I'll say, tell me, I just really, we just clicked. We just had this connection. And I'm immediately saying, uh-oh, what do you do there? You're gentle. And then one doesn't work out, and another one doesn't work out. And eventually it becomes that counterintuitive realization, oh, when I really like a person, that's a danger zone. And so emotional estimation, estimating emotionally. And seeing only validation. This is something that I see 99 out of 100 entrepreneurs kind of had this attitude. It's the employees suck attitude. I don't think I've ever in my life met a successful entrepreneur who said to me, one of the greatest things, the greatest thing about working in business is having a team to work with and having people on your team? Why not? Typically, it's because the people that you picked suck. And now they're driving you crazy. Now there are, I've met a lot of people that are very happy, but it's usually not the first thing out of their mouth. And maybe I'm just super lucky that I stumbled across this and learned from smart people, but I think I and our team has chosen great people, and when people say, what do you love about working in your business? The first thing I say is it's the team. It's these amazing people that I get to learn from all the time, day after day. These are my mastermind. This is my influence group. So if you think employees suck, and we have a mechanism in our mind that only sees validation, what are you going to do when you hire people? You're only going to look at the places where they suck. And you're only going to see the validation for that stuff, and you're only going to focus on that. Now, it may come as a shocker to you, but on our team, people screw things up. They make mistakes. They do little stupid things that cost us $50,000 or $100,000 on a regular basis. We lose a lot of money because our stars screw up. The difference, I think, between me and maybe some of the people I see who get all freaked out about these things is, instead of me saying, oh, not again, these damn people, what are they doing? What I do is I call the person up, typically, and I say, hey, how you doing? And usually, if it's a star, they're already bummed out, right? They're already beating themselves up. And I say, what did you learn? What's the lesson you got from it? We all have rough days. It's okay, don't worry about it. What's the lesson you got? Because guess what? It was a cheap lesson. I'm glad you learned it now rather than when we're at 5 times our size and it would have been a $500,000 lesson. No big deal. Don't worry about it. Now, I could show up and I could say, how could you screw that little thing up that cost us $50,000? What were you thinking, you idiot? I could do that. And in the moment, they'd say, yeah, you're right, I am an idiot, and I shouldn't have done that, and I don't know what I was thinking. But then later on, you pile a couple of those on, and at some point it becomes, I don't really care if this thing gets screwed up and it costs the company $50,000 because you're a bastard and you deserve it. It doesn't take long to accomplish that in a business. I've seen it many, many times. So finding stars and then treating them with respect and not flipping out when you have a loss, I think it can have a huge impact over time. And in our business, we're fortunate that we have very, very low, what I call negative politics and drama and all that kind of stuff. And I think that, it's largely because we don't have this attitude that employees suck. We have the attitude that our team members are what have created our business. And if they screw something up on accident, we need to be there to support them and take care of them and help them get back going, not to bring them down even further. So there's something that is profound about this outlook I've found about stars. And I use the term star to describe the highest evolution of a type of person. In business, you're going to meet essentially 4 people. You'll meet 4 people in business. You'll meet customers, and I recommend that you look for star customers. You'll meet team members, people that will come to work on your team. I recommend that you look for star team members. You'll meet partners, those other businesses that you want to work with in some type of relationship. Some people call them vendors. I think of them as partners. I try to always take that approach. And then you'll meet mentors, mastermind group, people that will advise you. Just think of them as mentors. And you want star partners and you want star mentors as well. I've spent a lot of time studying Warren Buffett. I was very fortunate this past year. A friend of mine said, we've got to go out to the Berkshire Hathaway meeting and go do the thing. So we flew out to Omaha and stood outside in the lightning storm, in the middle of the night, standing in line, and the doors opened. We stampeded in there and got on the list so that we could, ask questions, and we both got to ask Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger questions and get involved and just listen to those guys. And Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger are 2 of the most brilliant people that have ever existed in the business world. If you haven't studied them, you're going to want to do that at some point. You're going to want to read Warren Buffett's what are the Letters of Warren Buffett by Lawrence Cunningham, and you're going to want to read Poor Charlie's Almanac by Charlie Munger. You can just keep going back to these over and over and drinking of the wisdom for the rest of your life. These are long-term thinkers. And I remember reading, I don't know, probably a few years ago, it just struck me, even though I'd seen this probably before, Warren Buffett talked about how the reason why he lets his stock price keep going up and up and up and he doesn't split is because it's important to him to have partner shareholders who have the same mindset that he does. And when I first read it, I thought he must just be whatever. He's just saying that for PR purposes. He can't really mean that. Why does it matter who owns your stock? Who cares? They're just putting up the money. But the more I got into it and the more I thought about it, and then it kind of clicked for me, and then I went to the annual meeting and I actually met the people and hung out with them, I realized, right. Having star partners, star customers, makes your life easy. They're not hassling you. They're not trying to figure out how to sue you at every turn. They're people that you like and people you like to hang out with, people you like to help. You like them, so you want to help them, and they want to help you, and it's a good relationship. Then all of a sudden it made sense. Now, when it comes to stars, star customers, star team members, star partners, star mentors, the 4 people you're going to meet in business that are important, there's something profound about them, and it is, in my estimation, my view, that they have an entirely different outlook on life. They just have a different paradigm. They look at things differently. And the contrast that I will put up here is the difference between cause and effect. I once saw Tad James teach, and he used a little symbol that said, C is greater than E. C is greater than E. And you might read it C, and then it's like an arrow, causes E, cause effect. But you might read it that cause is greater than effect. And one of the things that separates stars from the rest of the world is that they see themselves at cause. They see themselves as causes of things happening. That's their paradigm. I go into the world and I change things. I make stuff happen. I affect the world. Whereas most people that you would call non-stars, and I'm trying to stay away from being judgmental here. I'm just trying to say it as it is, as I've seen it. They see themselves at effect. They see themselves as victims. Things happen to them. They don't feel like they have power. They don't feel like they can make things happen. They don't have the power to change their future. And you can hear it in the way they talk. You can hear it in the way they communicate with others. You can see it in their body language. Cause or effect. Stars are at cause. That's the simple way of thinking about it. Another thing that's interesting about stars is that most entrepreneurs will never meet them. Most entrepreneurs will never meet stars. And the reason why is that when they actually run into one and start talking to them, the star will recognize that they aren't a star and will not communicate with star language. They won't turn that on. They'll say, oh, this is just another person that wants to suck some energy out of me, so I'm going to just be cordial and I'm going to keep them at arm's length. We're not going to go there. We're not going to go to star communication. Stars don't walk around with a star on their shoulder that says, hey, I'm a star. Come talk to me. In fact, what I consider a star, they actually lay low. They don't broadcast how good they are, because that's not what they're after. They're not after ego gratification. They're not trying to get a lot of attention. They do it because they love to do it. They do it because they love getting the job done, creating results. And so, if you've got someone that's at cause, and they've got the goods, and they're in demand, do you think that recruiting them, that type of person, is going to be different than recruiting the average person you're going to hire. Yes. And in fact, what I've seen after years of doing this and helping a lot of people recruit, hire, and interview, and train, and manage, and then fire, and get stolen from, and sued by people that have come to work for them, I've seen that a typical standard recruiting, interviewing, and hiring system is not what is going to attract a star. Doesn't work for stars. That you need something different. You need a different mindset. You need a mindset for someone who has a different set of values. And you need an approach for someone who has a different set of values. And we have carefully crafted and refined and developed and learned and tested and tried a lot of stuff over the years. And what we found is that we've discovered a system and kind of created a system that really works well for us. So before I tell you that, I want to give you a couple of the mistakes I've seen so that you can avoid them, the little shortcuts. So here are a few quick, very expensive mistakes. So the first one I said is hiring someone because you like them. And so we already established that one. But flip that one around. Hiring someone because they're like you. Entrepreneurs, for some reason, I've noticed, this has just been my experience, but they consistently only like, admire, and respect other people that are like them, have personalities like them. And a lot of times they hire other entrepreneurially minded people to come to work with them, which is a recipe for having someone come to work with you for 6 months and then leave and go start a competing business. That's the way to do it. In fact, Rob Kelly, who works on my team, he and I have developed a little sign. It's a take on a little like gang symbol, and it's the E. All right, and we shoot each other the E. And if we're out in an interview or meeting someone or we're talking to them, and we finish and we walk out, one of us will give the other one the E for the type E entrepreneur. We can feel it now. We can recognize it. Oh, that's an entrepreneur. That's probably not someone that would be good for our team, because that's not who they are. They're going to do their own thing at some point. That's just what's going to happen, and it's probably going to only waste all of our time if we try to build a relationship and then get to the point where they come to work with us, and then they're gone. If someone's too entrepreneurial, they're probably going to leave. So hiring people that you like and hiring people that are like you can be very, very expensive mistakes. And here's one this is one of the toughest ones. Hiring someone because you want to help them. Hiring someone you want to help is one of the best ways to lose a lot of money and damage your friendship and maybe harm your business as well. A friend of mine told me a story about, I'm going to blur the details here, but someone that hired someone that was very close to them to come to work in their business. They really cared about the person, and the person needed work. So the person came to work with them, and after a long period of time, this person figured out that the person that they hired, who they were very close to, was embezzling money, was stealing money from the company. And they went to them and they said, "How could you do this? We're so close." And the other person said, "I have a friend who has a very serious illness and can't afford their medication. And I was planning to get the money together and pay you back before you noticed, but I felt like you'd understand if it ever happened." And it was very damaging to their business. Now, there are a lot of weird ethical issues that I just brought up right there. And who knows? If the person would have come to the business owner and said, "Hey, I've got a friend that's in trouble. Can you help me help them?" They may have done it. I don't know. But as the business owner, you want to retain the right to make that decision. You don't want to have other people making that call for you. That can be a little bit of a challenge. So when you hire people that you want to help, you're probably not doing a mature thing. You're probably getting involved in the wrong way. And I'm not saying that you don't want to help people, because I think you want to help people, but don't have that be the reason why you hire them. Hire someone to work with you because they're the very, very best person, and they're the right person for the role. Another thing, too, that I see that's a huge one is seeing only the good in people. This is particularly challenging for some personality types. If you happen to be one of the wonderful people in this world that is a natural healer and helper of others, if that resonates for you, it can be hard to not only see the good in other people and to actually see the negative results. Because if you only see the good, you'll miss that they're screwing up the business game, which is the fact that the business has to grow and prosper and make profit in order to survive. And you'll keep tripping and crushing your business over and over because you want to help this person at the expense of the bigger picture. And one of the tough realities of becoming a leader is that sometimes you have to sacrifice something to protect the bigger thing. And it's a tough one. I struggle with it to this day. Every time I have to make a tough call and it involves a person and their life, it's not an easy one for me. It's tough to do, but you've got to get the ability to do it. So don't only see the good in people. They say hitch your wagon to a star, and I say hitch your wagon to many stars. So here are some interesting points. I'm not going to get into the theory of nature versus nurture and whether you come pre-wired with certain traits or whether you learn them over time. But I do think that there's some truth to the idea that we have natural talents, natural strengths, natural weaknesses, natural tendencies, natural instincts. And I think that there's some truth to the idea that we become socialized, trained, enculturated, whatever you want to call it, programmed in some way with some of our stuff. But when it really comes down to it, and you're dealing with people that you're going to hire to work in your business, I think it's a good idea, especially when you're getting started and you haven't learned to see the subtleties, to just take a few things and almost make them black and white, crystal clear, and start at that point. So here are a couple of them. Some people believe that they can change themselves and change their circumstances, and some people don't. Some people believe that they can change their circumstances, they can change themselves. And they just know it. Oh yeah, I can change if I need to. I can adapt. And some people do not. Some people are driven to evolve and develop and learn. And some people aren't. Some people are driven to evolve, develop, and learn. And some people are not. I want to mention something here. It's okay if you're not. And it's okay if they're not. It's fine. But we're talking about stars and building a successful company. Good to make the distinction. Some people have what's called emotional intelligence and social intelligence, two concepts that Daniel Goleman put names to, and some people don't. Some people understand emotion, can relate to it. Some people understand being social and interacting with another human being, and some people just don't get it. Some people want to create and contribute to something bigger than themselves, and some people do not. Some people want to create and contribute to something bigger and greater than themselves, and some people just don't. Some people are comfortable with who they are, and they're authentic about it. And they'll say, yeah, here's who I am, here's my strengths, here's my weaknesses, here's what I got going on. And some people aren't. They hide it, they cover it, they mask it. Some people are comfortable with who they are, and they're authentic about it, and some people are not. Ironically, the ones who aren't comfortable with who they are tend to really snow other people who aren't comfortable with who they are. All right, they can put on a facade that other people will buy. Some people are optimistic, and some people are not. Some people are optimistic, and some people are not. And that's okay. But listen, watch, see if you can figure out whether you're dealing with an optimist or not. If you are optimistic, and you want to deal with other optimistic people, and you hire someone who sounded like they were good, but they turn out to just be a pessimist, and they may be a high-performing pessimist, but if they're a pessimist, sometimes that can create a lot of friction and put a lot of sand in your motor and just be a pain in the butt. And finally, some people live in a friendly, abundant, opportunity-filled universe, and some people do not. My very close friend and mentor, Jerry Ballinger, who's no longer alive, he used to say, I never even looked this up to see if it was accurate because it's a great one, and I'm sure that it is. Einstein said, the most important question to answer is the universe a friendly place? Is the universe a friendly place to live? And if you think it's friendly, that's going to create one set of beliefs, behaviors, and outcomes and results. And if you think the universe is unfriendly, that's going to create a whole different set. And if you surround yourself who believe that the universe is a friendly, abundant, wonderful, opportunity-filled place, again, it's just going to streamline and smooth and create great growth for you. And I think that if you don't, you're going to have a lot of friction, a lot of snags. And the last tip I want to give you along with those is that trying to change people, which I have done a lot of, and I think that it is possible. I think people can change. I think there are technologies that are available to change people. I think it can happen. I think you can do it. But I think that it is a horrible ROI investment. And I don't think it's something that you want to try to do in business. If you discover you got the wrong person, don't torture yourself and them and try to change them. Sit down with them and have an adult conversation and say, you know what, when we started out, you seemed like you were great for this role, looked great, you started working on it, we got some good results, but you know, I'm looking at what's happening now, and this just isn't a good fit. This isn't good for you. We need to find something else for you to do, or we need to help you find something where you can be successful. Trying to change the person is probably going to just frustrate you and frustrate them. So there's an argument that goes on in management circles and psychological circles about this notion of intrinsic motivation. Are people intrinsically motivated? Are they extrinsically motivated? Do you use carrots and sticks, or do you try to inspire them, or what do you do? Well, one of the things I remember, I talked to Wyatt. I talked to you on the phone about 10 years ago one time, and I remember Wyatt saying, I still remember to this day from that phone call, he said the two biggest mistakes that people make in psychology, behavior, motivation is, number one, thinking that everyone's the same, and number two, thinking that everyone's different. Those are the two biggest mistakes. Thinking all people are the same, and number two, thinking all people are different. Well, there's some similarities and there's some differences. And what I've discovered is that people are intrinsically motivated and they're extrinsically motivated, and you can use carrots and sticks and inspiration, and you can use any of them on anyone. And you can figure out how to maybe make them work. But when it comes to building a business that's going to run long term, it's probably better to find people that are already intrinsically motivated. They already have the energy and the passion. They already love doing the type of work and creating great results. They're already in the mindset of, I'm going to develop myself in the best that I can possibly be. They come pre-wired with intrinsic motivation. And yes, it's harder to find those kind of people. It requires a little more work, interviewing more folks, building more relationships. I'll teach you a way to do it in a little while here that will make it so that maybe it's even less work in the long run. But to begin with, you know, it takes a little bit to find those people and understand what that means. And then you have a different problem, which is holding them back. And that's a great problem to have. So I recommend that if you hire somebody to work for your team and you find that you're having to tell them what to do a lot and motivate them, if you're asking the question, how do I motivate my team? You probably made a mistake. You're telling me that you made a mistake upstream, and the mistake is you found the wrong people. If your focus is on motivating your people, I mean, you're already losing. The opportunity cost of having to spend time doing that and not grow the business. It's hard enough to grow a business. It's hard enough to get customers and to convert them and figure out how to trade value for money. Having to motivate your people, I mean, that's like trying to swim with a boat anchor chained around your leg. Find intrinsically motivated.